The year is 20,632, and humanity has just made what could be the largest scientific discovery ever. One of our oldest satellites cannot travel any further. We have found the edge of the universe. Edit, guys, my math isn't infallible. I'm more scared of my exams than the end of the universe. And I meant a probe, not a satellite. Apologies for the confusion. I think what makes this scary is the fact that how quickly we found the edge, basically meaning the great crunch is happening and it will all end very, very soon. The crunch is probably the best possible end to the universe, so this really isn't much of a problem in the grand scheme of things. Edit, typo. How is it the best? Heat death would ensure no more suffering would ever be experienced by anyone, no more complex matter arrangements for the consciousness to latch onto, only a soft, cold velvet of the void, forever. Hey, at least there you have a good chance of getting another Big Bang out of it. Time for round 2, baby. The true horror is that this may already be round 2. Or round 3. Or 5. Or 8. 13. 21. And yet it repeats itself exactly as every previous round has. So what? If it's a cycle, it's bound to have similarities here and there. After all, it's all reduced back to the same base makeup at the crunch point, so obviously we're going to have stuff like atoms and elements after the bang. The beauty is that, even in the repetition, there'll almost always be deviation. We see it in nature everywhere, in plants, in animals, heck, even humans. Even though the reproductive cycle remains the same for each species, the result will always be something new, no matter how similar. In that, there is beauty knowing that the universes that have been and the universes to come will all have their own beautiful weaving webs of stars and galaxies, each with tantalizing nebulae and gorgeous planets. And, perhaps, even life capable of looking to the stars and wondering why. This could be why people like the multidimensional theories about reality. Every time there's a new crunch it uses the same particles, and that's how you get ghost images of previous universes. Every reset is like a new dimension, similar but different than the last. Except quantum physics could absolutely be deterministic, we just don't know the seed of the universe, so it appears completely random to us. True, but that would insinuate that the first deterministic number will give a final result of the exact same seed to start off the next universe state. It's more likely that there are variations of the final result of a crunch in order to cause a slightly different reaction, causing a Big Bang. Not sure if that made sense, but sent it. Through sheer ironic twist, the previous seed generates the same seed. The seed of the universe is clearly 42. Yeah, exactly. But let's imagine there's not any deviation. The same you doing the same things again and again, iteration after iteration, condemned to repeat the same in the grand scheme meaningless actions, for eternities after eternities. Are they meaningless if the person carrying out the actions never realizes it? I don't think so. How is that really any different? Me going to my job 5 days a week and hanging out with my friends in one timeline doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things anyway. What difference does it make if it's technically the second or third time? It's not like I, or anyone else, would be aware of the previous cycles anyway, so from our perspective they may as well not exist. Alright, Monsieur Edgeworth, calm down. How is it comprehensible that this universe we're in will just get sucked back up into what is essentially nothing? Like you'd think if we were at the edge of the universe, there might be a way to power through to the other side. But we can't exist in nothingness, only the universe can do that. It's not nothing is the thing. Just because something is so small it's nigh incomprehensible and literally contains all matter in the universe doesn't mean that it's nothing. And hey, who's to say that whatever's outside our universe is nothing too? We can't know that for sure. Maybe one day, scientific tech will be invented that lets us find out, but that's far from now. I, for one, subscribe to the multiverse theory, myself. There's a non-zero chance that fundamental forces would not exist in the same way after another Big Bang, that the extreme energy of such an event would melt and redefine the forces themselves. A universe without strong nuclear force would be unable to form protons and neutrons, denying the existence of atomic nuclei as we know them. A universe without electromagnetism would be unable to form electron shells around atomic nuclei, preventing the formation of molecules as we know them. A universe without gravity wouldn't bring any sort of large celestial bodies into existence, denying the formation of any elements heavier than hydrogen outside of any random collisions shortly after the Big Bang. And, without gravity to reel in matter, there probably wouldn't be another big crunch or Big Bang to try again. There's beauty in repetition, sure, but there's also beauty in the serendipitous transience that we're in a universe that functions as well as it does. How did you arrive to that conclusion? I'm gonna need sauces and dip. Scientists hypothesize that the universe is in a cycle of Big Bang greater than expansion greater than crunch greater than Big Bang greater than expansion greater than crunch. Maybe he just watched The Matrix Reloaded. Exactly the same? Dude, I can't live like this again. Oh God, how many times have I said this already? I need to lay down. Intentional, or inadvertently, you listed numbers in a Fibonacci sequence and that's cool as F. Alright, calm down Fibonacci. It just gets a foot lower every time. I'd come pretty tired. Totally not related to anything, but my hungry A was scrolling through comments without reading and someone said crunchy and I saw D Velvet and thought this was about cookies. Life continues. I don't want everything to end. To say you'll be long dead by that point would be an unfathomably large understatement. There's absolutely no point in worrying about it or caring in the slightest really. By the time it becomes relevant, everything humanity has ever or ever will do will be completely and utterly erased and forgotten. Even the heat death of the universe might cause another Big Bang, the timescales are just quite long. Smile. Damn it, why there's always something interrupting my well-deserved naps. Phew, loaded death cultists in this thread this morning. I was just readying myself to bed in my time zone, so it's a perfect read before sleep, haha. And it's not like I'd be staying up, eyes wide open, not being able to sleep cause of all this thought about the ever-expanding universe, right? Definitely not. As Socrates said during his trial, our time will come one day, and whatever it is you can be sure that you will share in this experience with everyone you've ever met. Nobody really dies alone. But for now, there's lots of good memories to make still, plenty of happiness to have and bring on to others, and since none of this matters anyway, we might as well enjoy the ride. Our consciousness would be gone, so we wouldn't be able to think about that void anymore either. Which to me sounds like a perfect end. Yes. It's quick, thoughtless and leaves no widows. What aren't you getting that this is the ideal end? My sci-fi version of a good end would be to escape to an alternate dimension, universe before our universe disintegrates. Then it's not an end, really. That wouldn't be an end, that would be a continuation. A sequel, really. Humanity 2, The Electric Boogaloo. Starving and freezing to death isn't exactly great either. End of the universe necessarily means the end to suffering, eventually anyway. Heat death isn't the absence of heat in that way. It's a state of maximum entropy, where there's no energy left for anything to happen anywhere in the universe. It won't happen for billions of years, if at all, long after any life has ceased to exist and the last star has burned into nothing. The time scale for the heat death of the universe is projected to be around 10 years from now, when the last of the supermassive black holes radiate the last of their mass as Hawking radiation. It's incomprehensibly longer than billions of years. Additionally, the longest-lived stars, red dwarfs, are projected to possibly last a few trillion years, potentially as long as 100x the current age of the universe. Given the era of the universe where stars continue to burn will continue for such a long while into the future, there is ample time for more life to arise. Except for any close to light speed travelers, see the Freeze Frame Revolution, fantastic novel on this exact topic. Vacuum fluctuation almost guarantees it would only last at most a few trillion universal epochs if we are headed to a heat death in an unbounded universe. You'll be back, right here, making this same comment, with the exact mindset and life experiences that make up that outlook again, eventually, forever. And like the last infinite amount of times I've made this exact same comment to you an infinity of eons ago, I'll make the same comment then, again, and forevermore. I'll catch you on the other side of this eternal recurrence. I'll be sure to bring some beers next time. If I die in the Big Crunch, I might become the new Galactus, so basically all I'm expected to do is eat. Count me in. So your logic is that nothing good exists, only suffering? Sounds like you need some hobbies, my guy. Yes. A fellow science enthusiast. Okay, but A, the overwhelming majority of scientific evidence points to a heat death. B, without some crazy, unexplainable period of reverse inflation, 20,000 years is flat out impossible. Even vacuum decay only travels at the speed of light, and see, Voyager 1 travels at about a light-year per 20,000 years. Even increasing that by 200 times, assuming some insane future tech, if the universe collapsed down to 400 light-years across, we would 100% be dead and the satellite melted into a plasma. Explain like I'm 5WTH is vacuum decay? You never wondered why your local Hoover repair shop owner has a triple PhD in quantum theory? But nah, imagine you have a ball in a valley. If you've ever taken calculus, you'll be familiar with the local and global minima. The local minimum is an area along a curve or a surface where there's an upward slope no matter which direction you walk in. There can be more than one local minimum, but the global minimum is the lowest of those minima. So here we are, sitting nice and snug in our valley. We're at our lowest energy state, or a vacuum. If we nudge the ball up, we just come right back down. However, this cozy valley of ours, the local minimum, might not actually be the global minimum. It might be metastable or a false vacuum, i.e. not 100% stable. Imagine that on either side of this valley, there's a downward hill to a valley that's even lower than ours. If we nudge the ball too much toward one of those valleys, it suddenly goes rolling down into that other, lower valley. Suddenly, there's a problem. Thank you for the response. Some follow-up questions. Okay, so we're in a stable, local minimum. And if we get pushed outside that stability too much, we'll fall elsewhere to some other local minimum that's more stable, or the most stable. But what does that stability translate to? And what would push up the hill? Or is vacuum decay equivalent to the hill erodes away and we eventually fall into the deeper valley? And what does falling into the more stable state physically mean? Like, is it a big condensation of parts of the universe and huge collisions of galaxies as they merge together, or? I read it as the edge of the galaxy was so close that it has to be a false projection, a wall or cage of sorts. All that we inferred from our long-distance observations was based on a lie being projected on a barrier of some kind. Because that would be way close cosmically speaking. The Voyager 1 spacecraft will be approximately 1 light-year away in the year 20,632. Hopefully by then we will have conquered or weaseled our way around the speed limit of light. The universe is expanding faster than the speed of light. We don't know how this is possible, but eventually there will be no stars in the sky because they're all too far away for their light to ever reach us. Of course, humanity will be long extinct by then, so we wouldn't notice, but whatever sentient life form evolves after us will be so alone in the universe. If you liked the video, hit that subscribe button for more content. I post every day and I'll see you next time with more stories.